Hello and welcome to day 10 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, where I'm releasing a brand new Cricut video every day for the whole of October. Today is an exciting day because I got to have a play with Cricut's brand new foiling tool to make this handmade card. So I've used two colours of foil. I've got gold for the hat, and then I'll show you how to create a border in Design Space which you can use a different colour of foil for. So I'm not sure it's picking up on the camera, but this has got a lovely green filigree border in the corner, and then I build it all together with some gold mirror card to create this super shiny metallic Halloween greetings card. After inputting a new project in Design Space, the first thing I want to do is to create my main card front. I'm going to use an existing card blank that I have, so I'm just going to stick my squares of darker card and the forward part onto my card blank. So I've already measured my card blank, so I can go in and make a square, and because my card is white, I want to cover it completely with a different colour. I've measured my card, and actually it was a bit difficult to get the size in inches, so I'm going to switch my canvas over to centimetres. So I'm just going to go into the little drop down at the top, in settings, change it to metric measurements, and then my card front was 14.8 centimetres square on each side. So it is marketed as a 6x6 inch card blank, but I found the envelopes are 6x6 inches. The card fronts are slightly smaller, so they'll fit in. Now that I've just done that and changed it to the correct size, I'm going to go back into inches because I find it easier generally to work with inches. And there we go. Okay, so this layer is going to be, I think, a kind of dark purple. And then on top of that, I want to have a gold border, which I'm going to use mirror card for. So I need to duplicate this square by right-clicking and duplicating. I'm going to change it to a yellow colour to signify my gold and just make it a bit smaller. I want to do the same again with another purple square, so duplicate it, make it purple, and then I'm going to make it a little bit smaller still. So this is going to create the three main card layers to go on my base card. I want to make sure that these are all completely in the middle of each other, so select them all by dragging a box around them, go into a line, and then press center. Check you're happy with the size of everything, and I'm going to zoom in so it's a bit easier to see. So when I make my card, this is going to be a purple layer on top, which is what I'm going to do my foiling on. Then I'm going to have a gold mirror card bit around the edge, and finally another sheet of purple at the back. I'm going to choose my design now that I'm going to use the foil for, and if you go into images and then press image sets and search for Halloween, there's this one set here called Classic Halloween, and I really like this because it's all draw images, and draw images you can easily convert to be done with the new foil tool. So I'm going to go for this witch's hat, so I just click it and then press insert images, and then it's come on here, and you can see at the top in the line type drop down it's set to draw, but if I go into there I can change it to foil and then choose medium or whatever one you want. I'm going to go for medium, and then I can just resize it so that it's going to fit on my piece of purple in the middle. So I think I'll have it quite close to the edge. Like that. Maybe that's a bit too close. I want to make sure this is perfectly in the middle, so again select everything and go align and then center. So now I know that my witch's hat is perfectly in the middle. I think it would be nice to have a little border around the edge. So let's have a little look in images and see what kind of border I've got. I need to go back and then click image sets to get out of that. So now I'm searching everything. I'm not just searching the image sets. I've just noticed there's something here called decorative elements. I'm going to have a little look in there. Okay, this probably isn't what I want. Possibly. I'm not sure how much space I've got, but I quite like that border there. Just having a look at some of these that are square. They may not work on my design because I don't have an awful lot of room left. I might have to resize the witch's hat, but they were quite pretty. I think probably if I go back to the start and just type in border, maybe square border, then some of these might be more appropriate. Just kind of wanted like a plain edging. Doesn't appear to be letting me find anything. So I've settled on this image, which I'm going to put in the top right. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And then change it to foil. I think fine point on this one as it's quite small. And then I'll do it in a different colour. So maybe a green would look nice with my purple and gold theme. But I want to continue a little line around the edge. So to do that, I'm gonna play about with the score line tool, which is just, it gets you a straight line, but what you can do is change it to be a foil line, and then it will be straight. So I can add this around the edges to make a green line around them. And then to align them, go into align right, and then you just make sure you've got that line straight. So I need to remember to make these green. And then I'm going to duplicate this one and make it horizontal. And just have it go along that way. I may need to zoom in to get it nicely lined up. And again, you can choose both the layers and go into align. Let's go align. Here it is. Align right. So they're not quite touching at the moment. So I just need to move them in a bit. And I want to make both of these green. And then do the same for the other side. So let's duplicate them. There we go. So I've created my own little border of green foil to go around the edge. So I'm just going to save this before I do anything else. And then I want to weld all of my green foil lines together so that they'll all be cut from the same bit. So okay, it's not letting me weld them, so I need to attach them instead. So I just pressed attach, and now they're all the green ones are attached. And I also want to attach the green with the gold hat and this top purple square so that they're all cut out of the same bit. So let's attach them. If you didn't attach it, then it would try and foil the hat and the green bits from a different sheet of card, when actually we need them all to be on the same bit. So now I've got that sorted, I can go and click make it and just check everything's going to cut right. So I've got this bit, which is fine, although I'm going to be using A4 card. Oh look, it'll still fit on one piece, that's nice. So what this is going to do is it'll cut this bit first from my gold mirror card, and then I'll feed in a sheet of purple and it'll ask me to add my foil, so I'll show you how to do that for both of the colours, and then it'll cut the lines around them. I'm going to move this into the middle because it'll be easier to add the foil with the extra space around the edge. As I'm cutting, I'm going to use heavy cardstock as my purple card is quite heavy, but then for the pressure I'm going to choose less. And I found that if that's set to regular or more, it can tear the foil with the tool. If you need to check the position of your design when adding the foil, you can just hover over the matte image on the left. So here is my foil kit. If I open it up, you can see it comes with a tool and then 3 different kind of foil tips to go in it. So how it works is you get your tool and then choose which tip you want. And each tip, you probably won't be able to see on the camera, but it's got a little line around it down the bottom, and 1 line means it's the fine tip, 2 lines means it's the medium one, and then 3 lines is the bold tip. So mine's telling me to start with the fine ones, just 1 little line, and all you need to do is turn the tool upside down and then drop the tip in so that the bit with the line is the bit which pokes out. And once you dropped it in, it'll stay in there, so you can just take your normal blade out of your Cricut machine and put this in the hole instead. So for the Cricut Maker, it's in the same space as your fine point blade. So remove the fine point blade, put this one in instead. Okay, so let's go about putting our foil onto our craft mat. So I bought this foil pack which has the different colours. So I'm going to use green for the border. And these little packs open up quite well, so I would recommend opening them up all the way, because if you just open this bit down the end and try and pull the foil out, it can all stick to each other and be really difficult to get out. So by opening this all the way, it just makes it easier. So you're going to need your sheet of white tape which comes with the foil, and then I'm going to use the green, and I'm going to need 2 green sheets because 1 won't be big enough to cover the area that I need. So let's just have a look and take out 2 green ones, and then just fold all this up again so that it doesn't fall out. Right, here's my light grip card mat, and I've already put my purple card on there, so I'm just smoothing it out, make sure it's nice and stuck. So I think the hardest bit about this foil tool is actually making sure you stick the foil in the right place so that it's going to cover the design. I recommend having your computer open in front of you so that you can see by hovering over the mat where the hat is going to go, or whatever it is that you're foiling, so you know where to stick the foil. So this foil is so flimsy, and to get the best transfer you want to try and make it really flat with no air bubbles underneath. We moved our design into the middle down the bottom, so we can have a little position of these bits of foil, and I'm going to overlap them slightly so that they'll fit, and then just line this up with where it goes on the InDesign space. So when I was testing this design, I did it a little bit wrong. I didn't quite get the measuring right, and I had my white tape over where the blade went down when it was foiling it, and that meant that the foil didn't transfer in that place. I guess the pressure's not enough to go through the tape and then onto the foil. So you need to make sure that you don't put the tape anywhere that the design is going to be transferred, because otherwise it won't transfer the foil. So I'm going to start by putting the tape down this edge. I'm just going to put it on one side and stick it to my craft mat and the paper underneath. And do another bit down the side to make sure it's got tape all the way down, and then go along the top. This tape is reusable, so I've already used it. You can see it's got a little bit of green on from the last time. So I'm just going to hold the foil, oops. There we go. I'm going to hold the foil down with my hand and then just put that tape on nice and firm so that it gets the foil flat. And then this bit's going to be overlapped a little so that I don't have a gap in the middle. And then join them together with the tape. And I find the quicker you put the tape on, kind of the easier it is to stop there being any bubbles. When you're using the foil, you don't want to touch the foil on your craft mat, otherwise the stickiness can ruin it and pull the foil apart. So just make sure you put the foil on the card that you're actually using, and if your foil does overlap a bit, just trim it so that it's not going on the mat. So I'm going to turn this around so you can see the bottom. And I'm going to do this side. So it doesn't matter if the tape touches your mat, but just not the foil itself. So I'm going to make sure that's pulled nice and tight and stick it down there. Do the same here. Oops, you see there, I've just added all of those creases in. So I'm going to take that bit of tape off and lie it down again. So I want to try and not have any creases. It does take a bit of trial and error, and you might find that it takes a couple of goes before you really get the hang of this foil tool. I still don't think I'm there yet, and I've used it a few times. But I'm not very good at fiddly things, and sticking the foil on is quite fiddly. So I've just got one more bit of tape to add along here. There we go. That put quite a big bubble in. Let's try again. Sometimes it's kind of inevitable, just because it's so flimsy. I think that'll be okay. And what I might do is just add an extra bit of tape in the middle on this join line to stop it catching when the mat goes in and out of the Cricut machine. Because this is for the outline, it's for that bit around the edge, so there isn't actually any transferring that will happen right in this middle bit. So I can put the tape there without worrying that it's going to affect the foil transfer process. Okay, so this is now ready, see here, for me to feed into my Cricut machine. I've already put the foil tool into my Cricut, you can see it poking out there. First, I'm going to move all of the white wheels that I'm pointing to the edge, and that's to stop it marking the foil. So just slide all 4 of them over to the edge of the bars. Next, feed in your mat, and then when that's loaded, you can go ahead and press the go button. So it's going to look kind of similar to it would if it was cutting. So it's going to start feeding the mat through till it finds where the design is. So it's going to go all the way down onto your foil. And then the tool will go down and push along all of those draw lines. So you can see how it's working, and you can see that those bubbles in the foil are being pushed around a bit by the tool, and that's why it's kind of important to try and not have those bubbles. When it's finished with all the green, you will see a screen that looks like this, and after it stays at 100%, it will change and tell you to start the next step. So this is really important. Do not eject your mat from your Cricut machine. For the foil tool, you need to keep your mat in until every single thing is finished. So what we're going to do is take the green foil off, change the foil tip to the medium one, and then add the gold foil and set it going, all without ejecting the mat. So it is a little bit tricky, but I can show you how it is done now. So I'm carefully peeling off the tape from the green, and you do need to try and be a little bit careful because I have found that it does tear the card if you try and rip it off too quick. Here's my green border. Sorry about the quality of the video, but this was done on my phone. So you can see that foil has all transferred. Now I need to add the gold foil. So I've cut a piece of the 12 by 12 foil to size so that it will fit over my design. And then I'm adding the white tape to the edge. This is tricky, especially depending on the angle your Cricut machine is at, depending on how your craft room's set up. But try your best to get that foil nice and flat and even. I'm making sure I've got some tape across all of the sides. And now I can hit the flashing button and it's going to take the foil in. And I've already changed the tool to the medium one, so I didn't show that part on the video. So now the gold's finished, you get this 100% again, and mine does take a little while before it goes on to here. So now Design Space is telling you to take off the gold and then add your fine point blade in and then set it going again. So once again, do not eject the mat from the Cricut machine. Super important. We're going to do it all with the mat still in the machine. You can see my foil tore up a bit at the end. It hasn't really made a difference, but it's because I think I didn't put the tape quite all the way down. So it did tear a bit. It made a horrible noise when it did it, but just keep an eye on it and hopefully yours will be okay. So I'm taking off the gold foil, and again be careful with that tape because it can rip your paper. Now I need to change the foil tool out and put my normal cutting blade in. So I'm just removing the foil one, and then here's my fine point blade. I can just tap that into the Cricut, close up the clamps, and then press the flashing button. And now the Cricut's going to take the tool over to the edge and just make sure it's all in there properly, and then it will start cutting out the squares. So it will start with the big square at the top. Remember, we're cutting out 2 squares from this piece of card. And then when it's done that, it will go down onto the bottom bit and cut around the edge of the hat. When that's finished, now we can finally eject the mat. Here's my design now it's come out of the Cricut, and generally I'm really happy with how this is looking. It has gone a little bit not wrong really, but just where I got that foil caught with not enough tape. This outer line around the hat, it hasn't actually got any gold in it, but I think because it's got all the bits underneath, it still looks fine, and I'm happy to use this on my card. So hopefully you can see the shine as I turn it around a bit. Okay, so let's assemble the card. I've got my card blank here, which is white, and then I'm going to stick my larger purple square so it completely covers all of that white. And I've got a double-sided tape roller to do that. So I'm just going to put a bit on the card blank. Make sure I've got some in all the corners and along the edge. Okay. So I'm just going to take my purple card and line it up. And just push it down to stick. There we go. Next I'm going to attach the hat to the gold again with some double-sided tape. So let's put some tape on the back of the foiled part. It can be quite hard to stick onto mirrored cards, so I'm going to make sure I add quite a lot of tape. I think my tape runner is running out. So as this is a square, it should fit perfectly in the middle with a nice border, the same distance all the way around the edge. Yeah, and give it a good push down to get that double-sided tape to stick. Next is to add this onto the card, and to give it a little bit of 3D depth, I'm going to use some foam pads. So here is the back of my foiled piece, and I'll put some foam pads on the back. You want to add a good amount so that it's going to stick well, especially if you've used mirror card, as it is a little bit heavy. So I'll put some all around the edge, and then because I don't want the design to sag in the middle, I'll just put an extra few pieces in there. Peel off the backs of the foam pads, and then bring your card back in. Make sure it's the correct way round, and then stick down the hat design in the middle. And again, push down to seal those foam pads. So that's my card ever so nearly done. I'm just going to add some of these little green gemstones to the corners of my border line, my green line, just to neaten up those corners and add one more little bit of sparkle. And there we have it, my foiled Halloween card is finished. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and it has showed you how to use the new Cricut foil tool, and also some things not to do with it as well, so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for loads more Cricut tutorials. I'm releasing a brand new video every day in October, and it's all Halloween themed, so if you do like your Halloween crafts, then check out those other videos. Thank you for watching. Bye!